intercultural marriages. All right. We'll talk a little bit about you. All right. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself? How you ended up here in Ghana? All right. Okay. Yes. Before then, just tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I guess I should start by introducing myself. So my name is Melody. I have a YouTube channel called Just Vlog, and
Mm-hmm.
I lived in the U.S. prior to relocating here to Ghana. So upon coming to Ghana, I was like so undecisive about what I was supposed
Mm,
to do here. I had no idea. So I came to the understanding, like, you know what? Let me start a YouTube channel.
mm,
So the whole concept of my YouTube channel is just to bring awareness to the good, the bad, and the ugly of what's
mm,
happening here in Ghana and just on the African continent. I feel like a lot of people that come here, they don't stay. And I feel like the main reason why that happens is because they don't always have a clear understanding as to what to
mm.
expect when they're moving here. They have this illusion that everything's great. I'm going to the continent and everything's going to be fantastic. And they get like it's like a shock when they come here and they see certain
Yeah.
things happen and they're just like, what is going on? So the whole point of me creating this channel was is just basically to show every aspect of Ghana so that you really have a concrete understanding when you're making decisions to permanently move here.
Awesome. All right. Okay. Let's talk about shock a little bit.
Uh-huh.
What has been your greatest shock? All right. Okay. Before you came to Ghana, before you came to Africa, right? What
Hmm.
was your impression about the continent?
Okay, so initially off the plane, I thought, oh my gosh, it's so hot. That was my initial thought when I exited the airport. But after I exited, I just was in awe, a little disbelief that I had actually made the decision to come because when I came alone. So I've
Mm,
never been out of the country. So this is coming to Ghana was my first time ever leaving the United States of America. So that
wow.
on itself is just like crazy. And then when you add on that you just traveled across the country by yourself, I just was in complete shock, but at the same
Mm,
time, so much excitement. And I was just ready to embrace every opportunity that I could embrace coming to Ghana and taking a tour. So
okay. So before just taking the flight to Africa for the first time, what was your general impression about Africa as a whole? What was your when you heard of Africa, what really came to mind? What was your general impression about the continent?
well, to answer that, I think that we have to understand whether, I'm answering that from my young perspective or my, adult's perspective. Because my young perspective, my idea of Africa was that little kids were starving with big bellies and flies flying around, and everybody was dying of HIV, and it was impoverished, and nothing existed except for dirt. But as I got older, even though I had
Mm,
never been, I started to think maybe that's not all true. Maybe Africa doesn't
yeah.
look like what they've been telling me. And then it moved from that to me having like this just really just questioning like what is it really like to be there, then it's yawning like I need to be there. And so I think upon having that consistent yawning of wanting to come is really what
Mm.
motivated me to get serious about visiting.
Wow. So being at a new place, all right, like a whole new environment takes a little time to adapt, especially moving from an advanced, west to Africa. What was a turning? What really influenced your decision to settle in Africa, to settle in Ghana for that matter? What
I
was the
think
decisive movement to? When you said, I think I have to be in Ghana.
I would say that I can't take any credit for that decision. It was totally spiritually guided
Mm,
and led. It was a lot of prayer about what should I do, where should I go, because initially when I was considering coming to the continent, I wasn't coming to Ghana. I was going to go to Ethiopia. And
wow.
so that was like, my primary choice when I was considering coming. But something just was leading me, like, to Ghana, because when I was researching like different videos and, different cultures, I kept seeing
Mm,
Ghana. So I was like, you know what? Let me just try Ghana. Let me see what's going on with Ghana first. That's my perspective was let me go there first. And then once I
first, yeah.
figure things out there, then I'll move on and I'll go to Ethiopia and then I'll make a
Mm,
decision after, where I want to be. But initially coming, I didn't even have the mindset that I was moving here. I was just coming to have the experience.
Wow. So prior to your coming to Africa, coming to Ghana, do you have any relations, or connection with Africans in America? Were you in
That I
contact with
haven't.
any old, yeah, did you have any connection or relations? Some bonding with Africans in America. Did you have any friends in America, African friends in America? Or did you have some kind of connection with continental Africans in America?
Nope, I had no connections. I knew absolutely nobody. I literally
Wow.
knew I know nothing about Ghana. The only thing that I knew about Ghana is what I learned from watching YouTube videos. So I had no connections.
Wow.
I knew nobody, and I really just came to Ghana totally blindsided.
Wow. So now we're coming to the shocking parts of this whole session, all right? What really shocked you when you came to Ghana?
Um, I think if I had to answer that, I would say certain areas that I had the opportunity to visit.
Mm,
The poverty that I witnessed, I was just like, people living in there. People like this is not all of Africa. Like Ghana is absolutely beautiful, but it does have some parts, especially
mm,
like the remote villages that will shock
mm,
you because it's
yeah.
like disbelief. Like wow, to witness this firsthand is just it was something about it that was very shocking, but at the same time very intriguing. Because while these people, are living in poverty, they're still smiling, they're still happy, they're still
Yeah.
going about their daily life and being mothers, being children, being husbands. It didn't stop, them
Mm,
from interacting and having that family system. So and that structure.
wow. Mm. Wow, that's awesome. So I watched one of your videos when you spoke about Ghana police, all right, Ghana police.
Mm.
Then I also watched another video from an American, I would say the American Ghanaians now because they now residing in Ghana. It's called the Expats Live Ghana. I don't know whether you know that channel. They talk about Ghana. There are Americans, African Americans in Ghana here, all right? I love their channel. And they talked about some scuffles that they have had with Ghana police. And what they said is there was a lot of truth in it. All right, it's something that we all talk about. Have you personally had any incidents with Ghana police that you feel like, wow, this is different police from what I am used to in America, or this people are another. What was your experience with Ghana police?
So initially seeing them and they have the rifles and they look very, like another YouTuber mentioned, militant. They do. It looks
Mm,
like they're ready to go to war. Like, they're ready just
mm.
for anything. And so immediately
They look
seeing them,
scary, right?
like, yeah, like they're walking around. What's going on? Like, is somebody about to just come bomb Ghana today or tomorrow? Like, I need to know for my safety. But after like understanding that that's just the culture, that's how
Mm,
that's part of their uniform, big guns is a part of their uniform. But when you take your mind off of the fact that they're carrying these big guns and they look so like they're ready to go to war, you really do find that a lot of these police officers are just kind, they're friendly, and they match your energy. Like if you're coming and you're going to be all rowdy and crazy acting, they're going to match that and they have no problem
mm,
doing so. And
mm,
even when they match it, they're still not going to become forceful. You're not going to have to be in fear of your life thinking you're about to get shot. It's
mm.
none of that. But they will match your energy. If you want to yell, they're going to yell, and we can have a screaming match. But I feel like if you're being respectful and you're,
Yeah,
giving them what they're asking for, your license, whatever else
be
documentation they're
cooperative.
requiring,
Yeah.
you have no problems. I just on my way here because I'm not home. I was traveling out all day, so I had to make a stop in order to do this live, and I actually just crossed the police barrier.
Mm,
And they asked me for my logbook because I have a temporary plate because the car
yeah.
that we're driving right now is not a permanent car. It's just a loaner until our permanent car is ready.
Mm,
So I to present my logbook, you know, and you just make sure that you're just like for the logbook, for example, you have to make sure you're filling it out accurately to the best
Yes,
of
you
your
feel
ability.
ever. Mm.
Right. And you match that with your license if they ask for it, which he didn't even ask for my license tonight. He just wanted to see the logbook. So every officer is
Mm.
different and the information that they request from you. But it's so simple. When they ask for, do you have your license? Show them your license. Do you have your logbook? Show them your logbook. If they have any questions or concerns, they will make you aware of that. It's not like you're going to be in the dark, confused
Yeah,
about why they are pulling you over, like what's happening. You know, and then 9 times out of 10, they're not driving around policing communities. They're at
yeah.
checkpoints, minding their
Mm.
business. So when you
Mm.
come up to this checkpoint, you just address them respectively, give them what they asked for, and it's so simple. You just keep it moving.
Wow. Ghana, like you said, Ghana police, they are extremely friendly. All right, they become a little bit aggressive when you begin to challenge them. All right, but I believe sometimes you also need to, I mean, let them know you know your ish in a friendly way. All right. I remember some time ago, I forgot my licenses, and one police stopped me, and it was like, "Where's your license?" It's like, "Oh, I forgot the license at home." So, "Are you sure you have a license?" I was like, "Yeah, I do have a license." So he sat in the car and told me that, "Let's go to your house and pick the license."
Did
And
oh he
guess
went that
what?
far.
Yes, actually, I didn't. I misplaced the licenses. All right. So on our way, I don't know. I thought it was just playing around. Like, you can't tell me you are taking me to my house to verify that I have a license. So we just took. I mean, we drove a little, some close to 2 minutes. Then he was like, I was like, "Sir, let me be very honest with you. I can't find my license." All right. Then you know what you have to do, Ghana, please. You just talk, and he warned me and told me never to make sure that I was always have my life. So they are friendly. Depends on, even if you are wrong, and you know that you are wrong, how you relate to them really matters. So I do agree with you a lot. Now now to the main topic. We are here to talk about intermarriages between African Americans or African diaspora, all right, and Africa. What do you think before that? Did you ever in the US, did you ever hear of this diaspora war? We say there's kind of this diaspora war going on where Africans and African Americans or African and diaspora do not really see eye to eye. There's this kind of frenzy going on. Did you ever heard of that? And is that real?
Absolutely, yeah. It's unfortunately that's the narrative in the states is that Africans and African Americans can't get along, and so the idea of a lot of African Americans, I'm not going to say all, but a lot of
Mm,
African Americans feel like Africans from the continent are always scamming. You know, they're
mm,
always doing like some type of thing to hustle, or
mm.
they're mean. You know, they come across
Okay.
very strong, which I feel like I'm sorry if it's noise in the background, but
Mm,
I feel like they a lot of African Americans feel like the Africans here on the continent just are very like just sometimes overbearing, and very like self-imposing and trying to control situations. So the narrative between I'm not sure how Africans per se feel about African Americans, but I know from an African American standpoint, it's always like this negative taste in your mouth when you have this conversation about Africans.
wow. So it's
No, but
real.
all a part of the cycle to keep us against each other, because if we could keep these people divided, these Africans and these African Americans divided, then we can always conquer. So when we're busy fighting each other, regardless of what part of the planet we're from, they always are going to have the upper hand to do what they want and
Mm.
manipulate the situation as long as they can. So that is why it is so important. And I've been preaching this on my channel lately as just us coming together and really embracing each other as brother and sister. And let that other stuff in the past that you feel about each other, let it go and just really focus on getting to know each other.
Wow. So I get you because it seems like before some, I mean, for a lot of Africans, due to what we watch, you see on TV, before they move to the US, they have their preconceived, I mean, mind towards African Americans. And also, we are also being met. by African Americans with their own prejudice. So for what we see before we come closer to you, and also what we've heard also say about that before you meet us, kind of become that those that also contribute to that war or that little frenzy that uh, that goes on. All right. So but I think the narrative is changing thanks to you and thanks to a lot of people who are leveraging on the power of social media like YouTube to get us to talk. All right. That's why I'm very excited about videos like this. It helps us to sit down and talk to each other and to understand ourselves better. All right. Okay. Now let's talk about cultural marriage. Why do you think our intercultural? I mean, what do you think the intercultural marriage between Africans and African diaspora is necessary? Because it seems like it's gaining roots now.
Do I feel like it's necessary? I wouldn't really look at it from a standpoint of whether it's necessary or not, because I feel like when you find love, it is no, whether it's necessary or not. It's
I
just it's just a
tell
thing
you,
that,
I agree.
and fortunately enough, it's something that is happening amongst us, because it's this line that's keeping us, separated. So we're like, we have this line like in the street, and then you have Africans on one side and you have African Americans on the other side, and we look at each other like totally different people, but all in all, we are one and the same people. So it's totally normal, in my opinion, that Africans and African Americans are getting together and marrying each other. And I feel like that is something that just time is making happen. It's not anything, I don't think, that anybody's forcing, or it's not like Africans are looking necessarily for African Americans and vice versa. I feel like it's just the way, things are naturally flowing, and I'm just the number one person to always want to see things in its natural element. So I think it's a beautiful thing. I feel like
Yeah, I agree
a lot
too.
and African Americans that I see or that I've seen come together are really doing amazing things here on the continent. They're getting married, they're, purchasing land together, they're starting building projects together, they're doing investments together, having beautiful babies. Like, it's just a beautiful coming together that's happening, and I'm loving it.
I think that's these things makes our ancestors. I think it makes God feel proud because I don't believe it was God's plan to get us separated. I mean, we're bound to come together. All right. So I do see that to be very beautiful and very important that we connect not only we soul tie and soul bond when you find love in that particular person. All right. So what was the shock? Was has that been for you? Has there been any cultural shock in terms of relationship with Africans because you are black, I'm black, like you meet a guy, he's a black person like you, just that you have different accents. You are in America, he's in Africa, different setting, different environment, different condition. How do you think the culture shock is real, and how does it affect relationship between the diaspora, African diasporas, and Africans in terms of I mean relationships concerned? I mean romantic relationships concerned or are concerned.
I would say that I don't think that is a shock. Yeah, when you consider, joining in on this African American relationship, but I feel like it's a lot of cultural adjustments that have to happen. I also feel like there has to be constant conversations, because we're coming from two different worlds. I'm African American, you're African. You have your traditions as an African of way of doing things, as well as I as an African American. Like, we have to constantly, when you make that decision to become involved with someone, you have to, learn each other. And I say that all the time. I have to learn what it takes to be an African wife. I have to learn how to make fufu and banku and, red and all these different things that I had no idea of prior to
Oh,
coming to the continent. And as an African, you have to begin to embrace my cultural dishes of macaroni
mm,
and cheese and baked
yeah.
yams and collard greens and barbecue chicken, things that you like. What, like, we're both looking at each other like, what is going on here? you know, but
Wow.
I feel like we both either
I think she's frozen.
okay.
Let's
I
read
think
some
it was a
comment.
network issue real quick. But
Yeah.
I feel like we're both looking uh-huh. I feel like we both have equally very important things to bring to the table as far as culture. You have a
Yeah.
lot to learn from me as a wife, and I have a lot to learn from you as a husband. And the
That's
quicker
good.
that we are able to gain that understanding, we can move forward in unity and do some beautiful things as husband and wife.
Wow. That is deep. That's really deep. But has there been a moment where I mean you interact with people
Mm-hmm.
and you know people who are in kind of relationship with African men or African women who are Americans, all right? Have you heard
You said
or have
virgin.
you
You said
who
virgin.
are being who are no who are involved with in a relationship with African men or African women? I mean, I'm
Oh,
talking
okay.
about Americans here. So have you heard from anyone saying that the cultural shock or per your own experience, has there been a moment where you said the shock or the cultural difference or disparity is too wide to keep up? Oh, I think let me read some comments. Oh, okay, she's here. Has there been a moment where you've heard or you experienced that the cultural lacuna or the cultural divide or disparity is too wide to keep up with, or the demands and the pressure that the cultural disparity or the cultural differences comes along with is too much to bear?
I think it has a lot to do with the person you're dealing with.
Mm,
And that's just, you know, and that's it in a nutshell. If you're dealing with a crazy person, I don't care if they from Africa or the United States of America. If they crazy, they crazy. It don't matter where
mm,
what part of the
mm,
world you in, you're just a crazy person. And so I've heard stories of just being involved with crazy people. And it never
mm,
boiled down to, oh, she wanted to make macaroni and cheese and barbecue chicken all the time, so I couldn't do it because I want fufu and I want banku and I want red
mm,
and I want, you know, all these African dishes, and so it's just not gonna work. Or we can't communicate because she don't speak Fanti or I don't know how to speak English that well. I've never
yeah.
heard of any issues when it comes to that.
Oh,
My you know, the main issues that I've heard is just a being involved with a crazy person,
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that's
So you think
unavoidable, unfortunately.
that's what unavoidable?
Unavoidable. Yes,
Oh,
you're gonna encounter crazy people in this life.
okay, so looking at our upbringing, I mean, like this U.S. setting, or let's say the Caribbean, United States setting, and our setting here in Africa. All right, Africa generally in Ghana we have the matrilineal I mean clan or family where especially in the clan, they are clan, even though the men are in charge, but the women are really really in charge, all right, because when you give birth to a child, it's literally it really belongs to the woman, all right. So in a clan tribe, even though the man looks like he's in charge of everything, he's at the forefront and he's in power and he calls the shot, but actually in real terms the woman is the one who has the power, the unseen power, right? But in US, it's like you all believe in equality, all right? That especially now in the advent of feminism, whereby you do you, I do me, we do it together. You put one, you bring one, I bring one, you bring two, I bring two. Like uh, how do you balance with your setting where you believe in the how do you call it, equality? Should I say equality? We all believe in equality, but in Africa setting, we believe the man is the head of the house, right?
Hmm.
So, as a man of the house, you know you
Hmm.
have to provide for your wife. You need to do certain things, and the wife also should also, I mean, do something in a certain way, and collectively will build a family. All right, but your culture is kind of different. How did you manage? How do you manage? How did you even manage to compromise or find a compromise between that?
I feel like for me, and you know, just like you said, everything is accurate as far as you know, things being kind of like that 50-50 idea. Like, oh,
Mm,
you know, whatever I'm bringing to the table, you got to match my energy, basically. And so it's either that or it's this high standard of feminism where you feel like I'm the woman Ain't no man ever been in my life to help me, you know, run my life or take care of these kids. Like I, as a mother, have been holding things down and doing it on my own. So I'm going to control the narrative. And if you don't like that, then you're going to hit the road. And I feel like, you know, coming when you have that mentality and you're coming to Africa, it's never going to work because, like you mentioned, you know, African men are, you know, they're considered the pillar of the households, no matter what the home dynamics are. When you're out in a community, you know, setting and you're in public, your husband, you know, is the forefront and he is making the decisions, even if you know, okay, well, he just said X, Y, and Z, but I know when we get home, I'm gonna have to check him about this, you know.
Exactly.
But you don't do that in public. It's a time and a place for everything. So you never.
I
And I
agree.
just feel like as women, we have to learn to be submissive to a certain extent when it comes to our men, which is something that African American women have a very hard time with because we're so used to doing everything, being a man, being a woman, paying the bills, taking care of the kids, doing laundry, and, you know, fixing a car and all of these things that go into being a woman in America. It's exhausting, it's draining, and it's emotionally destructive to you as a woman because and damaging to your mind. Because when you
Yeah,
move on
I
and you
agree.
find yourself having the ability to be in these healthy relationships, you ultimately have the tendency to damage those healthy relationships because of your mentality as an African American woman. You know, so you always
Wow.
have to learn to be submissive to your man, whether he's right, whether he's wrong. You address that in the comfort and the confines of your own home. But when you're in public, that's your king, that's your husband. You stand behind him. You know, it's a saying in America, I'm gonna stand beside him. You know, and so
Yeah, 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 yeah.
you have to display that, you know, and it's so important because I feel like, you know, African men in particular are very big on respect and they're very big on you just, you know, just being there for them, you know, physically, emotionally, mentally. Men need that just as well as women. It's not all the time that, you know, it's not always about what you need as a woman, mentally, emotionally, physically, sexually, but you have to consider what does my man need? You know, what can I do to make my man a better man?
Wow. I think generally men are programmed or God programmed or men are programmed or coded to and one of the things that we demand, we feel that really gets to us. If you want to impress a man, then respect him. I think it's a general thing, all right. But and sometimes I personally like what you're saying in America. I watch a lot, I study a lot of American stuff. I mean, I watch you guys go. I'm really interested in African diaspora, all right. And I do sometimes see this feminism and the whole idea of feminism now
Mm-hmm,
sound a little bit distorted, all right.
mm-hmm,
And that kind of puts a lot of pressure on women, all right, because
mm-hmm,
you know what women can do a lot of. I mean, women can be capable. Women are capable of doing things men can do, but the truth is, it puts unnecessary pressure on the woman. Why would I allow my wife or a woman to work 9 to 5, right?
mm-hmm.
Get pregnant, go through menstrual cycle, and all this stress, all right, and also pay the bill, all right, in the name of equality. I think what we have to be thinking of is equity, where we all do our bits, all right, we all project our biological ability collectively to ensure that we have a proper family, how do you call it, proper family values, all right. And I think that's what is lacking in the, should I say lacking in the African American or African diaspora society. We see that in the movie. We have the breakdown of family. We see women. It's here. It's now gradually creeping in Ghana. In Ghana too, we have what we call the feminists, me too, that kind of stuff. But maybe that's another topic for another day. Okay, we have about 2 3 minutes. Let's take some questions and wrap up.
Yes.
Okay. So okay, someone said, wow, Ezekiel, welcome. Thank you for sticking around. All right, Patricia Matthews. Wow. Bless up everyone. One love, Africa, one love. And we have, oh wow, okay, she's again. We have Patricia again. The West media like to cause separation between Africans and diasporas, but thank God many people are waking up to the lies and West doing it.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes, it's true. It's true. I agree. And we all have to do our bit to change the narrative. That is why, like, my sister invited me to a channel. I was invited her here. that's the beauty of it. And I believe this is not, it wasn't meant to be so. They thought we will forever be separated. All right. But thank God we are now collaborating or coming together. We are now together, and God is happy with that. That's what I believe. All right. Um, yeah, we have the West knows when we come together as one African continent, we're most the powerful nation on earth. We are there. We are very powerful because we
Exactly.
have so much. There's so much, all right, so much that the West can't ignore. That's
Yes.
true. All right, we have great conversation so far. GH letter, thank you so much. We have ZQQ. A lot of these men are broken.
Very true.
Which
Very true.
mm,
A lot of these, I
mm,
don't know if he's specifying African American men, but African American men in particular are very broken. Right. That's very true.
sad. Someone said which man? I think it's answered. And we are one people. Stop. Ekow, you are dividing us. Wow, I'm dividing us. How come?
Oh no.
How is that
Oh,
even possible? Like it's so
no.
imaginable. I can't, um
No.
there
No
are so
division.
many things. It will never
I feel like, can I
there
just say something really quick in response to that? I feel like as African and African American people, we have to do counseling. Okay. So when you look at it from that standpoint, we are having our counseling sessions. So all of these lives that's happening to begin to have these conversations is our way of healing as a people. So it's never
exactly.
dividing. It's
Hmm.
always coming together. But in order to come together, you have to have conversation on how you're going to get through things. So it's
Yeah.
never division.
Yeah. To add to that, I think the sensitivity is too much. No,
Mm.
now in a world where you can't speak freely. Like when
You
you
have to
want
be
to
ready
address
to
it,
have
you have to
certain.
be
Yeah.
exactly. You have to censor. And for someone straightforward like me, even so, I try so much to censor. All right, but some things we need to say the way it needs to be. And you know, I have some. I have. If I choose certain trajectory as far as this channel is concerned, I get a lot of views. Surprisingly, I get less views talking about these things, talking about African and diaspora. But that is what I love. All right, it's something that I've been inspired to do. I mean, I was inspired when I told you on your channel where as a young kid we went to one castle in Accra. I saw how I was a little boy in my primary school days. I saw how African Americans were crying. I never understood what really. I was so young to understand the emotional attachment to that. But growing up, I realized it's real, and I believe that my great great grandmother possibly, or my great great uncle, or someone who possibly could have been my real brother, was whisked away by force to be taken somewhere else. So why should I divide my family? As a matter of fact, it's in my personal interest. It's something very sensitive and emotional. So when I see comment like "we are one people," stop, you are dividing us. Maybe you don't know me, but for me, it's personal and it's really hurts me. I pardon you. Maybe you don't know me that much. Okay, so someone said, Ekow, do you think that the culture is easier to adapt to if someone were to move further to Northern African countries or Eastern African countries? Ah, do you want to go?
I'll answer that. I feel like it doesn't matter where you move to in Africa, it's going to
Oh,
be a cultural adjustment. It doesn't matter whether you choose to move to Northern Africa or Eastern Africa. If you're not accustomed to certain traditions and ways that they do things, it's always going to be an adjustment. And that's for, if you're African living in the north and you're moving to the east and
mm,
vice versa, or if you're African American moving from the States to any part of the African continent, it's a constant adjustment that has to happen. And you have to have an open mind and be receptive to all new things that is coming your way. You
mm,
can't make that
mm,
change and be closed minded because it's never going to work for you. Wherever you come from, that's where you're going to run back to because that's what your mind is is conditioned to.
mm. Wow. Yeah, and I agree so much. I really agree. I think the border, this imaginary borders within or that's dividing Africa needs to be removed ASAP. Should be broken as soon as possible, so that we get to explore, we get to know from the northern down to the southern part of Africa. We get to explore. Right, it's becoming even more expensive moving around Africa than even going to maybe Europe or US, which it's
Yeah.
crazy, right? And we shouldn't, in as much as we want to have both or rebuild our relationship and spiritual connection with Africans and African diaspora, we should also do well to build the connection with those who, I mean, for those of us here in the continent. All right.
Ex-
Now it seems like someone one I watched a YouTuber and an American in Kenya, and she was shocked what Kenya thought of Nigerians and Ghanaians, or she was really surprised. All right, so if we do not understand ourselves, we rather getting our brothers and sisters in the diaspora a bit confused. So we should do well to know each other. All right, so we believe that these borders would be gradually fade away so that we can move across the continents. All right. So pretty much, I don't want to take my sister some time much. Kwashiman. Oh, Kwashiman. Isaac. Kwashiman is a suburb in Accra, right? Thank you for passing through. We have Isaac. What's up, K-Man? All right. So Water God tuning in. Yeah, I know you, Water God. Welcome. Thank you so much for sticking around. And also we have Action Boy. Ekow. It's your brother from Sunyani, Ghana, who lived in Italy. I want to marry an African American girl. Oh,
Be careful
wow.
picking one because some of them crazy. Be careful. Be in prayer.
Be in prayer. My sister, okay,
No,
I will
but
leave this to you.
amazing because as I am, but not every African American is a good person, and not every African is a good person. So when you're making a decision and you have certain wants, you just have to be prayerful and never just go on your own accord and do things because you will find yourself in a bad situation.
Wow. Okay, but let's see what happens. Let's keep building the
Yeah,
connection on our channel. Who knows?
exactly,
You find where you find who took your rip or who God gave your rip to. All right,
exactly.
so all right, let's quickly move. No, your weak tethers are broken. FBA ends broken. FBA foundational Black Americans are not broken. Okay, good to know. And I think the brokenness she talked about is being taken out of context. And now we are back to this sensitivity thing. It's like whatever you say, you have to explain it and break it down to subset for people to just find what really suits how they feel. All right. So
But I mean,
I've,
to say that it's not broken, what did they say that African Americans aren't broken? What was the
yeah, yeah, someone said men are broken, and I think in this context, all right, the
broken?
I see what our brothers. Africa is not perfect. Ghana is not perfect, but I sometimes see what is happening in America, and I sometimes I feel sad about the whole thing because let me tell you that it's not all about money or chains and rings and cars and houses. You can never buy inner peace. All right. Here in Ghana, I always say this here is Ghana is not a perfect place, but if you have money, something to get you going, you have no reason. You wouldn't feel you even have there wouldn't be any drop in your mind to leave the shores. You wake up, you see the bright, I mean, full sun, you go to beaches, you go out and you literally see people who are interested in how you slept. How did you sleep? Are you okay? Like this kind of stuff. All right. And unfortunately, I might be wrong. You don't get to see that. That's what I hear. I hear from the diaspora. You don't get to see that bonding between Africans or Black people in the diaspora in America. So if you're talking about brokenness, it's something that is real. And the
Very real.
best way to address an issue is to admit that the problem exists. Just like in Africa, we have economic issues, we have a lot of issues here in Africa. We need to admit the truth. That's the
Exactly.
only way we can tackle it head on. All right. So you may choose to deny it or unaccept, but probably you are not broken. I mean, she said it in context. All right. So don't get it wrong. Okay,
Mhm.
so we have another thanks, brother. Thank you too, Daniel. One thing I've learned about Ghanaians is that they are very strong on education. They have a saying: if you educate a woman, you educate a nation. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree.
I've
In
heard that saying.
Ghana, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. In Ghana, I would say in Ghana, it looks like men are in charge, but the real gender in charge are the women. If you take a closer look, they are the woman. All right. Okay, so we have hello Echo. Hi, A86. How are you? Thanks for coming. And we have don't worry, he didn't understand it well. All right, pardon. We
Probably
have our
not.
brother KBM to Kenya. All right, I salute you too. Thank you for passing through. We have Sister Joseph. how borders come to be a problem. Borders are necessary. Every nation has borders. They have a foundation. Yes, we believe that the border should be there, but it should be just imaginary. It should be something that would be like a check. All right. Something to control certain attitude or crime or whatever. But why should I go to Kenya? Look at what happened to Odemaya. Why should I have to move to Togo and be profiled as if, like, seriously? Meanwhile, one white guy can just walk through. I mean, just no, let's not go there, all right?
Borders are
Um,
necessary to a certain extent. The
yes,
end.
yes, yes. Thanks for your advice, sister. All right,
Huh?
sister. Okay, okay, we have thanks for your advice, sister. Again, we have this, and let's wrap up. What I mean by broken men who come from polygamous homes, the men are neglected, and the mothers sometimes have to fend for themselves. So many of these men grow up relationship issues. I agree. It's this polygamous home, if not managed well, it's a problem. All right,
Yeah.
and you know what? The funny thing is, people think polygamy is something really big in Africa. All right, but there is, all right, there is, because it's culturally it's been there, but it differs. It's something more like personal preference. All right, I don't in my family, I personally have never heard anyone in my family being polygamous, and polygamous is a little bit, it's a bit rare. All right,
Mhm.
here. All right, it's not something that you see around. I mean, so this kind of Africa polygamous, there are cases, but it's more like personal preference. It's not something institutionalized that you have to be polygamous or that kind of stuff. If you can handle, you go for it. All right. KB Blast already asking hosts if they go East or Africa or not. KB, the Blast already, I don't know. Someone said, greetings, I'll marry an African American. Yeah, my brother. I know this guy
Good.
personally. He's really a good man.
That's great. Any single
Yes.
African American women tune in. Make sure y'all correspond.
Please,
Correspond.
please rush for your life. And I don't know what I'm tempted to say this. He has almost all his family in America. So
Oh, so he has a good
yeah,
understanding. That's good.
yeah. So brothers, sisters from the diaspora, our brother is ready, please. But this particular brother, I have special interest
Okay,
in whoever comes because it's really a good guy.
that's
All right. So it's true women delegate their powers to the men, but they are in control. Queens appoint kings and chief. Yeah, yeah.
absolutely
In Ghana, that's a trick. In Ghana, you see, oh, men are in control, but look, women
behind the
are. I tell you, it's crazy. I'm a married man. I know what I'm talking about. I don't have to stress further. And you know
behind
what I'm talking
the
about.
scenes. You know who run the house?
Melody, you definitely know what I'm talking about.
I do. I do. Behind the scenes.
Okay, so please, Echo, can I get your contact? All right, so send me an email. My email is echoreal@gmail.com. Sorry. All right. COM. Okay, then I'll share my contacts there. All right. So thank you very much. But please, please, this is a time for you to just go to my sister's YouTube channel and subscribe. Everything is there. You see the YouTube channel, Juice Vlog. At this moment, please just type Juice Vlog right now. I mean, was I chanced on a content on a channel. I was like, wow, we need people like her. We need hundreds. I mean, we need many people like her. If
I
we
agree.
want to bridge the gap, if we want to unite, if we want to change the narrative, all right. She currently did a video. I mean, she's doing everything. She's doing everything. She's a true representative of I mean she's really representing blackness or Africanness or our identity as black people, no matter where you are. All right, so it's someone that we all have to support. So please, this moment, just go there. All right, just let's spill over, let's invade her channel right now. Let's do some juice vlog invasion right now. All right. Okay, so and last question, someone is saying, do you mean to say that African men are not in charge? African men are in charge, but I don't know whether you understood what I'm trying to say.
Probably not.
Yeah, we are in charge, but women, like, don't underestimate the power of a queen. That's what I'm trying to say. In Africa, all right, the men are in charge. All right, the men, the burden and the weight here in Africa mostly is on the men, so the shoulders of the men. All right, and do you know this? Some of these, I mean, some of these. There's all this debate going on in Africa right now that African women also leverage on that to take advantage of the men. All right, because they know the men have to do anything because of men have to provide. Is giving this so-called slave queen some legibility to want to get or ask anything from men because men, you are created to provide. All right, but I believe that that's how it is. But we should, or in our day and age where we are all in a difficult time, sometimes we have to strike the balance. The men bring some, the women also do their part, we all come together. We are building a family. This ideology of men leading and women leading, I think we all have to collaborate, come together and build a family. That's the beauty of it. What do you think? Like your last words, Melody, then we wrap up.
So I just want to briefly say that my babe and I, we was just watching a TikTok just recently, and a woman who was doing a TikTok video who was speaking, she was saying how a lot of people get it misconstrued and they feel like, it's always this 50-50 type of relationship when in reality, that is not
Mm,
what an authentic relationship looks like. And there's
mm,
going to be times where the woman might be pulling 20 and the man is pulling the majority of the percentage, or vice versa. The
mm,
woman pulling more and the man is pulling less. And that's just the
mm,
reality of being with someone. And I feel like, one of the main issues here in Africa is the African man's ego, feeling like he has to be in charge all the time,
mm,
feeling like he has to make all the shots, which is not fair because women, I be seeing African women out here in the sun, okay? And the heat, and it's
mm,
hot in Ghana, carrying their babies on their backs. They shopping, they cooking, they working all
mm,
day with babies on their backs, chasing the babies around, and the man is nowhere to be found. He off working or doing whatever it is he has to do. So to
mm, mm,
underestimate the abilities and the power of a woman is very wrong. And I feel like that narrative in Africa as men has to be changed because you have to understand that, just like your woman, just like you feel like you're in power, your woman is also in power, but you equally have your power in certain areas, you know?
yeah.
And so if you come, just for example, if you as a man come home from work or doing whatever it is that you're doing and you seeing that dishes is, or maybe garbage is it hasn't been taken out, take the garbage out. If you coming home in the
Mm,
middle of chaos happening and I'm in the kitchen cooking and your child needs a bath, give your child a bath.
mm,
Change that child's
mm,
pamper.
mm,
It has
mm,
to.
mm.
Don't
It's
think
true.
that because you're a man, you get to sit on the couch and kick your feet up because you bringing in a little bit of money. Because guess what? We as women is bringing in money too.
Now
So you
the whole thing
can't
has changed.
have that because I'm a man, you're supposed to cater to my every beck and call because
Mm.
that's gonna weaken your relationship. I don't care what nobody has
Exactly,
to
exactly, exactly. And
over
now I
time.
think the paradigm is shifting here in Ghana too. The paradigm is really shifting here in Ghana because now the working class woman, I mean, it's also growing. All right, you are in Ghana, so you see women driving to work every day like men. All right, so you can't say you are going to work with your wife also going to work, and at the end of the day, you all come home tired and you're expected to do whatever. That seems like an institutionalized mentality that tells you that
Yes,
woman should do particular thing. All right, so because she's supposed to pay the bill. Like if you are building a house, you see women supporting. All right, so I think that kind of institutionalized mentality should go away. And thankfully, it's fading, all right, because now in our economic situation, you cannot do it all by yourself, all right?
exactly.
And yeah,
It
so
gets
I
trapped.
agree.
Yeah, you have to have a
But
balance.
exactly. Melody, the questions are coming, all right, but we have to leave. We have someone saying, I'm a subscriber and I like a
Yes.
channel, I like a content a lot. All right. Someone is saying, I see her channel popping in YouTube streets.
Okay.
Wow.
Wait.
That's awesome. Someone is also saying, link up, let's do a show, bro. Oh, I'm ready. Send me an email, all right? Or you can just let me know your email, all right? As long as it's about Africa, why not? All right, I agree. Agree to what? Okay, European women are in charge, not men. Europe women are in
Okay.
charge, not men.
Oh, so you're saying
Yeah,
Caucasian women are in charge, not men?
yeah, yeah. And
I don't really get understand.
I remember one of my colleagues, a white colleague, then said something. He said, in Europe, marriage is a prison. Once you get into the marriage, like you are scared to death that something may happen, divorce might happen. Because if that happens, you are literally dead. Like that will be the end of your life as a man. All right. In Ghana here too, right? In Ghana now, if you are divorcing a woman, it's a problem. You it's a problem. So something that is it's a good thing. Why would you? It's the time that men seem to take advantage of women. All right, it's over. I believe that we all have to do our bit. It doesn't necessarily have to be 50-50. It should be natural. It should feel natural. We should do
Exactly.
our bit to bring up the family, to bring up the society. All right, not necessarily creating some percentage or some metrics for yourself. Those kind of, if you love the person and you are with the person, do your best and
Exactly.
grow the family together, grow the world together. All right.
Yes.
Someone said, do the royals in Ghana practice polygamy? Yeah, they do. Most of them, actually, not all of them. Don't bring this Western mindset to Africa. I don't know what he means.
Maybe he meant by
Okay.
I was saying that it has to be a 50-50 relationship, but guess what? That's a reality.
Mm, mm.
Period. It's a reality.
Yeah, I think
So
I
you
think you
sound like
mean.
an egocentric
Mm,
man that needs to correct your own self.
mm, But I
Think what
think when you love when you understand family, when you have a purpose in the marriage, all right, you those things wouldn't even matter to you. I mean, the ego wouldn't matter much. All right, it's natural. All right, like you said, the culture and the institutions, all these things, they are there. But I believe it should be corrected. But because those days, women were not working in Africa. Women and were not allowed to work.
those
They
days
were in
is
the house
done away
cooking.
with. 2023. So
Exactly. Women are not allowed to work. The man has to go to work, go to war, do everything. Now in Ghana, in Accra, in my city, you see women working every day. Like my wife said, she goes to work. You don't. Can I afford to let her be stay home so that I buy everything from head to toe and also build a house and do everything? All
exactly.
right. So now, on for good or bad reason, we have been forced to compromise, and I believe it's a righteous compromise that we all have to respect and uphold so dearly, because we cannot do without women, and women cannot do without us. That's what I believe. All right. Um, okay, so
Say
don't bring
that
the craziness in Africa.
you might as well just
All right.
say, okay, all women stay home and let all the men do anything, everything. The women ain't got to do nothing but kick their feet up and take care of kids. So to say that don't bring your Western mindset, okay, then let all women stay home and you take care. Every African man take care of their women, every need and
Oh.
call. I want to see that.
All right. Someone said, Echo, I guess you get many Diasporans say to you that they are not African, they are Hebrew. Yes, I do. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to talk to one person who feels like that. I want to bring him on the show to sit, then we sit and talk. Maybe he will be in a better position to explain why they are Hebrew and we are Hamite. Okay. How is it going in the States? Okay, we have she's preaching Western values. Okay. We
I'm
have
preaching
yes.
values. Period. I'm preaching human values. That's what I'm preaching.
Okay. All right. So we have another same complaint by our brothers in the States. We have I feel the vibe. All right. Yes. You know that there's a reason why this conversation is very important to understand ourselves. All right. For me, I think it shouldn't be harmful. And I don't feel any toxic interaction here. It's all good. All right. And like I said, for me, no, just choose what works for you, because I
Yeah,
know that typical African value is to care for the man to do everything, and the woman should also operate in a certain spectrum. All right. The fact that women are doing things now, like taking some of the roles now, manly roles now, which were not so before, doesn't mean they shouldn't respect their men. All right. Women
exactly.
do. You have men. Yeah. So she wasn't. She told as she spoke. She said that men should respect their men, and that's what African American women should learn to do, respecting their men. All right. So I think I don't know what's the I mean the misunderstanding here, but
Ego.
it's a healthy conversation, and we hope to continue. All right. So thanks for your comments. And they added Igbo and Yoruba to this mix too, but yet they say they aren't African. Go figure. All right. So Anderson said hello, GH lettered. All right. So I think we are. Oh, the comment keeps coming. I can't read all because 50-50 never worked in the West. It won't work in Africa. Yes, it shouldn't. That's why I said it comes naturally. It shouldn't be something like, hey, let's sit down and divide the roles, because you can't stand that. You can't divide the roles. You can't carve out a rule. I mean, marriage should be natural, right? It should be natural.
Just to
All
clarify,
right.
I don't know if they was confused. I think that they have to go back and rewatch this live. I never said that anything is 50-50. And I'm not going to
Mm,
re-elaborate what I've already said. So I think that you have
okay.
to, in your own moment, go back and rewatch this live. Please and thank
Mm. All right, so we have The Rock says, don't want to marry you with others. We end the same people. It's fine, that's fine. There are also black people who probably would say like what you're saying. Africans who would say the same thing. So if you are foundational black American who think you are Hebrew or you are from wherever, I mean that's fine. I don't disagree. If you go to Australia and Papua Guinea and Solomon Island, there are black people there, right? Even they, I watched the video, they feel that they came from Africa, then they sojourned to Asia, then back to that. I mean, unfortunately, we couldn't keep all the records, but it's an established fact that the root of humanity started from Africa. All right. So, despite whatever you believe in, you hail from Africa, unless you want to tell me that you were airdropped from space or something. But that's fine.
you.
Okay,
Yeah.
so The Rock, chill. The Rock, why do you? All right, so it's becoming more interesting. But in Ghana, there's a Ghanaian adage that says that as the game be- becomes interesting, then the night's also catching up with travelers. All right, so I think we need to go. I want to thank you all for sticking around. How has that helped the relation with the West? How do you all have broken relations with the West? All right. I hope to be in your channel, actually. Unapologetic African. I hope to be. Just send me an email and let's have a conversation. All right. So The Rock. Um, I think we should do part two our juice vlog. All right. So the comment keeps coming. She's not going to change Africa, but she's trying. Yes, she's doing her
Uh,
best for the
well,
for
you
the
know
good
what?
of
At the end of the day,
Africa.
I'm never trying to change Africa. The Father is the one that will change Africa. I am a mortal human. Let's be
Exactly.
clear about that.
Okay, so someone said just take a look at us black men in the West, where that mindset holds sway. That has been tested in the West. Or I don't know what it means, but I think he's talking about like the values we are discussing here. All right, I agree. There are morals. There are CIA agents on YouTube pushing this Western agenda on Africa. I mean, I think in human, all right, there's something that inherent in us. You're able to decipher what is good and what is bad, all right, and you should be in a spiritual position to be receptive to whatever is good, and you should be able to repel whatever is bad, all right. So I think it's got to do with the individuals. For me, you can't tell me to accept certain things. For example, I don't believe that um you should, excuse my language, people who believe that beating a woman or women who believe that men beating them proves that they love them or something. Those are craziness. I mean, those kind of stuffs. And I don't believe that men should have the overriding power. All right. And I'm speaking from experience. I can't say much. Whenever men um, makes all the decision without considering the also I mean letting the women have their say, we tend to make mistakes. We tend to make, because women naturally, I have a lot of sisters ahead of me. We have all my I have three sisters ahead of me. All right. So I know I know what I'm talking about. And I am who I am because of them. All right. What they did for me. So what I'm trying to say is this institutionalized mentality that women should be this or men should be that, something that we should draw some kind of compromise. In that drawing that compromise, we shouldn't also break that core value, like respecting each other, men loving our women, and women respecting our men. I mean, we should. know that the foundational rock still stays. All right, without I mean, I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, so we have agree, son and knock. I mean, CIA everywhere, so we just have to be very careful. Black Americans, SINT, African, we ain't the same people. We are indigenous black. Come on, you can be whatever you want to. All right, I love you as a black person. As long as you are black, you are my man. All right, you can choose to be whatever. All right, I've also read about this whole foundational black American stuff and indigenous, and even the scuffles between the indigenous Indians and indigenous black. I mean, there's a whole lot. But the truth stands that despite everything, we are human. We are black people, and we are all human. All right. So that's fine. You are allowed to think whatever you want to think.
And you know,
Come and learn
it's
who to be a
so
woman from Africa.
it's so interesting to me that these comments are still coming through, like creating this division. Oh, you're black, I'm black African American. It's like you could talk until you're blue in the face, and people just still gonna be stuck on planet Moon.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. I
just the
think what
reality.
he's trying to say is they are more blacker than black. They are more pure black than a black. I don't know. It doesn't make sense, does it? Knock the rock. Does it really make sense anyway? Okay, so someone's saying, come and learn who to be a woman from an African woman. All right. I
All women
think
have something to teach.
exactly. I think we all have to learn from each other. Unapologetic
Exactly.
African. We have a lot to learn from each other. All right.
Exactly.
I was raised by a woman. I know what if you have to go in accordance to what the stringent African culture, like like we should stop. This would be a topic for another day. So unapologetic Africa, let's have a show. All right. Okay, so let's have a show. All right. So if a woman respects herself, she respects her husband. Same goes for men. Yes, yes.
That's
We
very
have
true.
our
Nobody
roles.
ever
We
said
want to do
anything
that.
about not respecting your
Yes, yes,
husband.
yes. That is
You
true.
have to respect
KPM,
your
that's
husband.
very true. Yeah.
Yes, you have to respect your husband.
I said it, and we are all blacks. Yes, yes. I don't need to learn anything. Not all of us need to be taught. Unapologetic African. Okay.
To
No, we
each
are
his
all
own.
Africans. All right, we're
Yeah, yeah.
African.
Everybody
So,
is entitled to their own opinion
so
about life.
yeah, so thanks guys so much. I mean, the comment keeps coming. This is supposed to last 30 minutes, but we've gone past 1 hour. I just want
Oh
to
my
thank you so
gosh.
much for sticking around. Every Friday we have sit and talk with different people from our diaspora relatives and also within the African space, those who are doing marvelous things for Black people or for Africa or even for the world, for humanity. All right. So thanks for sticking around. Please make sure that you go to Use Vlog and also subscribe and send all your questions and your displeasure there. I mean, whatever question or whatever attack you have, yes, let's continue from her channel. All right. So guys, thanks for watching. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
See you later.